get that motion out. Don't embrace your neighbor's neck. That needs some consent in order for that to happen. So I'm going to invite Will to begin with a song, a melody that he wrote to Hine Matov.
So I was thinking about this melody, and it came to me a little while ago. Unfortunately, I recorded it on my phone, and I forgot about it, and I found it a couple days ago. It's from 2014, so I'm still relearning it, but I thought we'd try it tonight. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. הנה מה טוב שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד.
Koach. I'm glad you found that treasure on your phone. Want to welcome everybody to Shabbat services. Particularly if you are newer to Congregation Beit Haverim, or if you're a new member, we would love to welcome you. Want to invite people to put their names in the chat. If this is your first time, let us know that. We're thrilled to have you, and we want to extend a warm welcome. And it's a way that we can connect with you later. So feel free to let yourselves be known. And if you've come a few times, still also let us know if you're new. As usual, I want to invite us to engage this Shabbat. This is the platform where we have the opportunity to be connected with one another. And so what helps that feeling of connection is when we have the opportunity to see each other's pictures. I understand that that there may be times when we need to turn off our camera, but when we can turn it on, it really makes a difference. It helps with the community feel. I know certainly for me, I derive a great deal of energy from seeing people's faces that I haven't seen in a while. It's one of the highlights of my week to be able to congregate with you. And a lot of our personal and spiritual journey, I believe, is getting to know our voices in a different way. A number of people, watch my voice be terrible this particular Shabbat now that I'm saying this, but a lot of people have given me feedback that, it seems like I've moved into a place with a greater sense of comfort and resonance with my voice. It's helpful that I have probably a 20-foot ceiling for that resonance to be created, but there is a way of singing alone and has deepened my comfort more and more of really owning my voice and not feeling so reticent about it, especially in a community where we have an abundance of singers. And so I really want to invite all of us to kind of join together in the singing where we're so moved, and even maybe stretch a little bit, because when we are able to see each other sing, even if we can't hear each other, it creates a particular powerful prayer community that I think is important, as well as being self-expressed in this moment. So, to be able to use these platforms and, as Lee was saying, it's not only an opportunity to get acquainted and feel comfortable with our voices, but our faces, our appearance. There's a way where we get a reflection back that we're not used to. And rather than kind of shun it away, I'm somebody who loves to talk about fidelity to self. It really is an opportunity for us to strengthen our connection and embrace the all of who we are on this platform. Because I believe when we move out of this platform, it will bring some important qualities of being able to walk with a deeper sense of reverence and care for ourselves and each other. We're going to move into lighting our Shabbat candles. I'm going to invite Elisa Bauer and Ariel, Julia, and Ian to light our Shabbat candles this evening. Good Shabbos, y'all.
Good Shabbos. Hold on, sorry.
She's burning her. Come on.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner el Shabbat. Amen.
Good Shabbos, everybody. Let us take this moment of letting the Shabbat light in to inspire within us a sense of hope, a sense of connection. And for me, this Torah portion, this Shabbat, is always a special one. Parshat Re'eh, which invites us in the very beginning to recognize that before us, we have a choice to move towards blessing or a choice to move towards curse, is my anniversary Torah portion. It's the first time that I led services at Congregation Beit Haverim as the rabbi was this Torah portion. And so it's some of the sweetness that I bring into this Shabbat and the light. And for me, it's a really important opportunity for us to reflect the ways that we want to bring in that sense of blessing to ourselves and to each other. We're going to begin with a bit of Song of Songs, Dodi Lee, which you can find, I believe, on page 17.
And this is call and response. Dodi li va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshani.
Dodi li va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshani.
Dodi li va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshani. אני לא. דודי לי ואני לא. דודי לי ואני לא. הרואה בשושנים. דודי לי ואני לא. הרואה בשושנים.
Yesher Koach. Thank you, Amy, for joining us. You got a lot of love in the chat. And we find ourselves on page 13 with Shalom Aleichem, which is really this opportunity to welcome the spirit of Shabbat. And by embodying being the messengers of peace, I want to invite us, if there are folks that you want to express a particular Shabbat shalom to, please put a message to them in the chat, either privately or everybody. But it would be a good way to kind of us reach out and express our well wishes to one another. Please join us in Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchni b'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedhem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei
So I'm going to invite us to move into our breakout rooms so that we can greet each other in small groups. I put a wonderful post this morning on Facebook asking people what was a hopeful thought that they had this morning. And it was a really tremendous list, not including people putting the name of particular candidates that have recently been named in their messages. But there were a lot of other really wonderful things. And I think in a time where sometimes hope can feel scarce, it's a really wonderful thing to begin to focus on. There's a quote by Barbara Kingsolver that I found that basically said that, the least that we can do in life is to articulate what it is that we're hopeful for. And the most that we can do is to live under that hope like it is our roof. And so I like this idea of hope being our roof and perhaps Shabbat being the foundation that allows for us to have a little bit of hope in that time. So when we go into our breakout rooms, if someone will help be a facilitator in each of the rooms, but just take a moment to reflect on what is a hope that you are bringing into the Shabbat. And if someone can help facilitate, just to make sure that everybody quickly goes around. We only have a couple minutes, so it really is just a quick, good Shabbos and sharing that thought. And so we'll enter our rooms now, and we'll see each other in a few moments.
Hello, anybody home? Darcy, are you?
You're in the main room. You need to go to your breakout room.
Well, okay,
How do we do that?
Okay, join
It-
breakout room. There we go.
Yep, there you go.
His favorite part of the whole thing.
Good Shabbos, everybody. People are slowly coming back. Shabbat Shalom, Nicholas. I saw you in the corner over there. Good to see you. Shabbat Shalom, Marcy. Shabbat Shalom, Felicia, Heidi, Anna, Clarence, Gary.
I thought it was the little gold token.
Oh no,
Shabbat Shalom, Dan and Susan. Good to see you.
it's Ariella speaking to.
Oh, right.
Hi, Bill.
As we wait for Will to come back, we're going to turn to page 33 for Yeram Hayam.
Will is back. Yiram hayam umelo Tever veyoshveva Yiram hayam umelo Yiram hayam umelo Yiram hayam umelo Tever veyoshveva Yiram hayam umelo Neharot yimchau chaf Yachan harim yeranenu Yalalai נהרות ימחאו חפיה לי 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 יחד הרים ירננו ירם הים ומלואו ירם הים ומלואו טבע ויושביה ירם הים ומלואו נהרות ימחאו חפיה לי 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 יחד הרים ירננו לי 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 נהרות ימחאו חפיה לי 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 יחד הרים ירננו ירם הים ומלואו ירם הים ומלואו טבע ויושביה ירם הים ומלואו
So just want to share with folks that at CBH, there have been folks who have been involved in the food security project. And we want to thank all 36 CBH volunteers. First of all, an incredibly auspicious number. Not only is that double chai, but in Jewish tradition, there are 36 Lamed Vavniks, which are people who are secretly doing amazing mitzvot in the world. So this is a little bit more public, but in many ways, when I saw this number, I thought we're embodying that spirit of what the Lamed Vavniks do. That there are 36 CBH volunteers who have ensured that a dozen families receive food deliveries at home every week during this long summer. Many dedicated volunteers have fanned out all across Atlanta to shop for and to deliver food, while hardworking team captains and phone callers keep it all on track. Our plan is actually to continue this project, delivering food through the fall. We may even expand it some, so stay tuned for opportunities. You'll see in the Bet Mail, probably in announcements, that we'll be looking for more volunteers. We would love to get more people involved. And thank you again for everybody who has stepped up. And feel free, if there's someone who has stepped up and want to share a little bit about what the experience has been like, would love to see what you have to say about it in the chat. In many ways, it relates to our next psalm, Or Zarua, that when we do this kind of work, we're planting seeds, and that these seeds have the potential to bring a greater sense of light to the world. Or Zarua, you'll find on page 31.
Sing with me. Bum diddy bum 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 bum diddy bum. Keep that going. Tzadik u'yishre lev simcha Or zarua latzadik u'yishre lev simcha Or zarua latzadik Yishre lev simcha Or zarua latzadik Yishre lev simcha Or zarua latzadik Yishre lev simcha Or zarua latzadik u'yishre lev simcha Bum diddy bum bum diddy bum bum diddy
So friends, we bring in the sense of love that Shabbat can inspire. Really the sacred love that flows and connects and binds us all with Lecha Dodi. You'll find the verses in the chat. Please join us in singing.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmi'anu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'litila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki va'orech kumi ori, uri, uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayik nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Yamin u'smol tifrotzi, ve'et Adonai taritzi. Al yad ish ben parzi, v'nismecha v'nagila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam besimcha u'v'tzola. Toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
So friends, we move from this sense of love to a call for peace as we listen to the chorus singing O Javo.
Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'akulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'akulam. Salam aleinu ve'akulam. Salam עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. שנתי עלינו ועל כל העולם, שנתי שלום. שנתי עלינו ועל כל העולם, שנתי שלום. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. סלאם עלינו ועל כל העולם, סלאם שלום. סלאם עלינו ועל כל העולם, סלאם שלום. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם. עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו ועל
Invite us to rise as we turn to page 55 for the Chatzi Kaddish. Those who want to rise either by standing or by kind of just straightening yourselves if you're sitting and that's more comfortable. Yikadav v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalmad yivrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayetecho beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizmahan kahariv, vimeru, amen. Yeheshmei rabo mevorach, leolam leom me'almaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpar, v'yitramam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, Vitalal Shmed Kudesha Rihu Liela Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechemata Da'amiran Be'alma V'Meru Amen. We continue to stand for the Baruch Hu on page 57 as we join in singing the Baruch Hu. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruchu et Adonai, Hamevorach, Hamevorach.
Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach leolam vaed.
Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach leolam vaed. Please be seated. We find Asher Bivaro on page 59. Before we chant the Chatimah together, I invite Sandra Menace-Ash to offer this reading written by Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt.
You mix the colors of the evening like my son swishing his brush until the waters are black with paint. The sky is streaked and dimming. The sun wheels over the horizon like a glowing penny falling into its slot. Day is spent, and in its place, the changing moon. The splatterdash of stars across the sky's expanse. Every evening, we tell ourselves the old story. You cover over our sins, forgiveness like a fleece blanket tucked around our ears. When we cry out, you will hear. Soothe my fear of life without enough light. Rock me to sleep in the deepening dark.
Amen. Mavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzvahot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch ata Adonai, Ma'ari v'aravi. Amen. We continue with Ahavat Olam on page 63. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amchavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limahadita Al Kain Adonai Eloheinu B'shochveinu v'kumeinu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha li'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu v'yorech yameinu Uvahem nehege yomam v'layla, V'avatcha lo tatsur mimeni le'olamim. Baruch ata Adonai, Evamo Yisrael. Amen. We turn to page 65 for the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta ha'ehit Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantaham levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shiftecha b'veitecha Uveleftecha v'derech, u'shafbecha u'vekumecha, u'kshartam le'ohot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot behinenecha, u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'v'sha'adrecha. For a moment, we find ourselves on page 79 for Micha Mocha. We acknowledge as true and trustworthy that there is but one universal source, and that to God's service, Israel stands eternally committed. Human rulers usurp divine authority and exploit the people. Those tyrants' hearts are hardened. Their own arrogance writes their doom. So therefore, we will never be discouraged nor dismayed when unrighteous powers rise up to destroy us. And though enemy hosts pursue us, we shall remember always how our ancestors were saved at the Sea of Reeds. And it is therefore that we repeat the words of triumph. with which our ancestor gave thanks for their deliverance. These words, Michamocha, on page 79.
Mi chamocha Ba'elim Adonai Mi kamocha Neder bakodesh Nora Tehilo Ose Malchutecha Ra'uvanecha Bokeaya Lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Zeli Anu ve'amru Adonai imlo Le'olam va'ed Baruch Atah
We move to the Hashkivenu, and it's our opportunity to really find that possibility of being connected on this platform. For me, it's a moment where I scroll through the pages and see all of the faces, as when we sing and speak about the Sukkot Shalom, this canopy of peace that enfolds all of us. It's helpful for me to remember who I'm under this canopy with. And, ostensibly it is the entire world, but some people you camp more closely with than others. And so in many ways, this is our encampment under this canopy. And so I want to invite us to really scan those, wishing with our eyes a sense of Shabbat Shalom, as we hear the words, Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shalomecha, spread over us this canopy of wholeness, this Shabbat.
Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shalomecha V'taknenu v'etzah tova milfanecha Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shalomecha V'taknenu b'etzah tova milfanecha V'hoshienu Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shalomecha V'taknenu
So friends, we move into a little bit of silence. I'm going to invite us in that silence to settle in. And in that silence, invite us to kind of touch that still small voice within us, that place that, perhaps is our own holy of holies, that spark of the divine within us that has a sense of our own resilience and our own ability to know that despite the questions and uncertainty of tomorrow, that we often have what it takes within ourselves and within the power of community to find our way. And so if you want to just either kind of close your eyes if you're comfortable, or just kind of let them grow soft, perhaps a little fuzzy, and focus on that life breath and settle in. It's your opportunity to let go of whatever anxiety you're holding on to. Invite that sense of Shabbat rest and peace deep within. And as we move from this place, may we bring that connection to our prayers of healing. Invite us to put in the chat the names of those that we offer a refuah shlema, a healing of body, of spirit, of mind. We also include Richard Adler, Hillary Bauer, Loretta Bernstein, Bob Bloomfield, Murray Chass, Nefesh Chaya, Judy Cohen, Richard Cohen, Estelle Green, Sylvia Gross, Ronit Elk, Jerry Falcon, Larry Hunsberry, Matthew Kantrowitz, Mark Copen, Arnie Corfine, Michael Lappin, Elaine Levin, Bob Levy, Robin Levy, Ann Lewis, Paulette LeCourcier, Tommy Macon, Melissa Macha, Esther Meyer, Sharon Miller, Sarah Newmark, Aylin Olson, Dory Perling, Michael Perling, Ethan Post, Mario Ravri Sr., Alan Rosen, Gary Rosenthal, Judy Roth, Harris Rotman, Cheryl Siegel, Clifford Greenfield, David Singer, Elliot Stryker, Maria Talenti, Eve Turner, Dolly Wack, Shirley Weiss, Aline Tootie White, Phil Whiting, John Witherspoon, Beth Ann Buttigieg, Iris Bulls, Tom Reich, Deborah Krotenberg, Frank Noon, Patricia Noon, Richardson, Jamie Robertson, Yankel Batsara, Matteo Battisini, George Hotelling, Alton Reynolds, Alyssa Robbins, Norma Harris, Kate Hamill, Janine Grasso Smith, and Kim McCalla.
This is call and response. Mi shebera avotenu kor hachayim leimotenu uyevareh yirafeh et hacholim et hacholim el narefana la 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 mi shebera avotenu imotenu uyevare ve'yirafe et hacholim et hacholim el narefana la el narefana la el narefana lo el narefana lo el narefana lo el narefana lo el narefana el narefana.
Shabbat Shalom. A little bit of Torah for us this evening. Our Torah portion is Parshat Re'eh, which means to see. And it says from the very beginning, see this day I set before you blessing. And it begins to say that if we follow the mitzvot that we've been told, that we will find blessing. And then it says, or we can seek curse. And that's by disobeying the mitzvot. As a community that believes in the evolution of Torah and that even what it means to be bound to mitzvot as something that changes and evolves over time as we deepen our relationship with Torah, I wanted to bring 5 different ways where we can be blessing. I figured it would be more fruitful for me to focus on how we could be blessing than how we could be curse. Probably many of you are already experts at that. And so I, just kidding, you don't get the same kind of in-person connection. So I never know if my jokes land. I just assume that they don't. But that said, I think that, for us to kind of, what's in this Torah portion that can guide us to be blessing, to seek blessing, to choose blessing, and how might we enact that in this time? And so I want to share 5 ways from this Torah portion. So the first one is that choosing blessing is about being authentic. And we learn this from the commandment about the 3 festival offerings. It says in our portion that the people shall not appear before the Holy One empty-handed, but each according to their own gift, according to the blessing that the Holy One, your God, has bestowed upon you. And so part of what I believe the message in this mitzvah is that each of us are bestowed with unique gifts in this world, and that when we come together to create a sense of joy and celebration, that we bring our own gifts, that is what creates a unique and diverse community. And I feel that what is particularly important, that so often a misunderstanding of Judaism is about a conformity and everybody practicing in a particular way, or the expectation of who is welcome looks a particular way. There are so many ways where Judaism has opened the door to recognizing, celebrating, and expecting that how we seek blessing in this world is by bringing our authentic self to our Jewish lives. So as we think about this time, there's that invitation to be authentic. And what we can learn from that piece of Torah, and also more, is that we can seek blessing by being generous, and particularly by being generous through the attribute of chesed, of loving kindness. And the Torah portion says that if, however, there's a needy person among you, one of your kin in any of your settlements in the land, then Adonai, your God, is giving you, you do not harden your heart and shut your hand against your needy kinsman. Rather, you must open your hand and provide to that kin that which is sufficient for which that person is lacking. And so here we get the message very clearly that we need to be generous, that we need to think about our fellow community members, and that is a way to be blessing and to seek blessing. But here, there's something that says a little bit further that what the person is lacking, what we learn from our musar, our ethical tradition about how we are generous, is that we don't assume that the person needs what we would want, but we have to know someone well enough and in order to understand what it is that they are truly lacking. So often we come from this place of just making that assumption and there's no relatedness. And so in terms of our ability to be generous and understanding that as being a source of blessing, we have to be in relationship with the one with whom we're providing so that we can truly understand what that person's need is. And that way we can meet that need to the best of our ability. Third, a way to find blessing is to be seekers. In the beginning of this Torah portion, shortly after saying that there is blessing and there is curse, we are told that when the Israelites search for the manifestation of God's presence, you will come to this place that God chooses. And what I love about this is that it's saying that we have an opportunity to look at our landscape and see where there are openings of God. There is a way where, we've been taught that if God is omnipresent, God is everywhere. But this really comes from a place where Mendel of Kotz teaches that God is only where we invite or see an opening for God to move through. And so for us to be a source of blessing is to be seekers in this world, to seek where there are opportunities for us to recognize a sense of the sacred or what is holy. And then another way for us to be blessing is to be joyful, to take on the lens of what does it mean to create and cultivate a sense of joy. And we learn that in this Torah portion because it gives us the commandment of Sukkot. And when it says how we must celebrate Sukkot, it says that we shall be joyful. Rabbi Danya Ruttenberg offers that if we look at it in context, it's not that we should just be joyful, but that we should rejoice. And that, she says, requires a series of actions, that we must come together with those in our community, those we see as our family of origin or our family of choice, those we work with, people in our community who are most vulnerable and who do not have resources, and we're told to hold a festival. And that it talks about leading up to this time that there should be grain and wine, and that we should help provide everyone to be able to be invited to the party. And so that while we are actually creating the celebration that is worthwhile and that everybody is invited to participate, we can't help but create and cultivate a sense of joy. That it isn't about just putting on a happy face, but as we saw in the remarks of people who have been providing food and sustenance for the larger community, there was a thread that I read in the people's comments this night that talked about how the joy of being able to provide that sense where people who are most vulnerable and put on the margins in that exchange brought a sense of joy and created a sense of joy. Imagine, I think as Bev Corfin wrote, that somebody sings, God sent me an angel. When somebody brings food, there is a way where we can create a sense of blessing and relatedness by taking on the attitude of joy. And lastly, just the very commandment to see that there is blessing, the very beginning of this Torah portion, invites us to be hopeful, to recognize there's this assumption that whatever life puts before us, that we can see the blessing in it or we can see the curse in it. And sometimes we can't help but experience the curse. But there is the attitude of Judaism, as we were kind of talking about at the very beginning of the service. Not only is it is what it is, but gam zeh latova, to take on the attitude of seeing, of the lens, of being able to recognize that there is possible blessing even in curses. It's what we've been talking about in terms of getting to the point of once we yield to the challenging reality And once we're able to discern our choices, we actually can sweeten it. Sweetening it is choosing on the lens of seeing that there's blessing before us. I was just speaking to a congregant before services, and we were noticing that, there's a way, in some ways, our community is more engaged and connected with each other, even in this distant platform. And even though we miss that in-person connection, that there is a strength and a viability of the blessing that we continue to be together when we show up again and again in these ways. And so as we celebrate this opportunity to be blessing, may we remember that the sense of hope that we can cultivate is what we also need in this moment. Shabbat Shalom. And so I believe Amy Price is giving announcements tonight. I would like to welcome her and thank her as one of our board members, our secretary. And just to kind of shout out that while our board did take a momentary respite this week, we're all very hard at work, really creating the sense of partnership with the staff and so many volunteers to make our program continue. So thank you, Amy, on behalf of all of the board in showing up and bringing message Shabbat Shalom to us this evening.
Yes. Thank you, Rabbi, and Shabbat Shalom, everybody. And Rabbi Josh, I love how your messages always just hit where they need to and sharing. So thank you for that. And of course, thank you, Will and Amy, for the beautiful music that you've brought in. I think I'll echo what everybody else is saying. It was great to see Amy join you as well, Will. It was very beautiful. We are so glad to host so many friends from around Atlanta and around the country for our virtual service. That's been one of the best joys of being able to see so many people regularly on here. Our regular daily and weekly gatherings continue in the coming week. We have mindful moments at 8:45 in the morning on weekdays, and we will explore spiritual themes that move us from estrangement and grief to responsibility and repair, to forgiveness and self-acceptance. Please join us. Finish your day with a 10-minute million at 7:45 p.m. The CBH board continues to meet weekly on Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Please join us tomorrow for Torah study with Rabbi Gottfried at 10 a.m. Next week, you are invited to join Gayan and Rebecca Goldsmith at 6:45 p.m. For a special Elul Shabbat service. You are also invited to find clarity in meeting this Elul with CBH's Elul retreat led by Gayan and Rebecca on Saturday, August 22nd. The retreat will include the art of altar making, a Shabbat chant service, guided meditation opportunities online and in your space, personal reflections and interpersonal sharing throughout the day. Register on the CBH website. I know for me, the annual chant retreat is one of the highlights of my CBH year, and so I'm grateful that we'll be able to do it online, and I hope a lot of people will join. CBH members, the next installment of Let Me Entertain You lecture series, Barbara Streisand, is coming tomorrow night, August 15th at 8 p.m. You can reserve your spot on the CBH webpage. Monday evening meditation and chant will take place this Monday, August 17th at 6 p.m. Please join us. All are invited to attend CBH's welcomes guest speaker Nehama Namal from Woman of the Wall as she speaks about the battle of equal rights at the Western Wall at 11 a.m. on Sunday, August 23rd. And as Rabbi spoke at the beginning, I'm very thankful for our 36 volunteers and our two fearless leaders, Rebecca and Shelley, for all their work on our food insecurity project. For a full view of Elul offerings, please visit the CBH calendar on our website. We are constantly posting new events and services, so please check often to stay up to date. Members, if you have a loved one in last year's Yizkor book, please be on the lookout for an email from Agatha to confirm details for this year's book. If you have not listed names in CBH Yizkor book, but would like to do so, the deadline is coming, so please be in touch with Agatha by August 19th. We have a special section on the website dedicated to COVID resources and response. This is where you can find links to all public CBH Zoom gatherings, as well as links to practical and financial resources, spiritual, mental health resources. Go to the CBH website, congregation.haverim.org, and you'll see in the main navigation across the top, COVID Central. Finally, if you're able, please consider making a donation to CBH to support these offerings. We know many people are facing a shifting financial landscape, and as some of our members need to step back from donations, we ask that other members and friends consider stepping up. Thanks to everyone. So great to see everyone this Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom to all. May you have a beautiful and restful Shabbat.
Thank you so much, Amy. Appreciate it. And folks, I just want to add a couple things. One is that, given that most High Holy Day services are going to be virtual across the world, please know that you can invite your family and friends to join us. And so please help us be good ambassadors and share our High Holy Day link from our website to your friends and family. We're preparing to be able to host a number of people, and we would love to have the people who are important to you join us for some of our services. And it would be good, you're gonna look out for the shofar blasts that come out on Monday. We'll continue to explain and help prepare how High Holy Day services are gonna be a little bit different this year. And then just as a personal aside, it is very funny to me that tomorrow there is a program on Barbara Streisand, because there's very little that I remember about the first service that I led at Beit Haverim, except for I talked about Barbara Streisand in my first sermon. So it's a beautiful full circle this year that you'll have an opportunity to do some Barbara Streisand Torah, and let us entertain you tomorrow. So enjoy that, everybody. And as we move to the conclusion of our service, I'm going to invite us to move into an alternative to Aleinu, which is the chant Ein Od Milvado Ein Od, which really talks about the sense of that there's only oneness that connects us all. Ein Od Milvado Ein Od Milvado HaHashem Hu HaElohim. Ein Od Milvado Ein Od Milvado HaHashem Hu HaElohim. Ein Od Milvado Ein Od Milvado HaHashem Hu HaElohim. Yai dai 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 Ein Od Milvado Ein Od Milvado HaHashem Hu HaElohim. Ein Od Milvado Ein Od Milvado HaHashem Hu HaElohim. Please join me in saying the prayer for the end of hiding. You'll find the words in the chat. As LGBTQ Jews, we are aware of the loss of integrity we suffer due to the pressures of the larger society. We often feel forced into a dishonest presentation of ourselves, to ourselves and others. The LGBTQ individuals who feel they must pretend to be something that they are not. The Jews who feel they must be alienated from their tradition and community to win larger acceptance. Both are a victim of a theft of identity or integrity committed by the sexual, gender identifying, or religious majority. Creator of the universe, we ask that our hiding draw to an end, that we no longer feel we have to pretend, to promise falsely, to renounce ourselves, and that our fullest creative expression as Jews and as lesbian, gay, transgender, bisexual, and queer people be among the blessings you bestow upon us. Amen. So we find Mourner's Kaddish on page 131. I ask us to put in the name of those that we are honoring in the chat as we bring to mind their memories. If you also want to unmute yourself to say their names out loud now, you can do so as well. And then we'll join together on page 131.
Jeff Jacobson.
Harry Krackelman.
Herb Diamond.
Helen Weinstein.
Marilyn Lefton.
Dan Butt and Karen Geiger and Shari Butt.
Harry Kustik.
Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. Yikadal, Yikadash, Shmei Rabbah, Yalma, Dibra, Chibute, Yamlich Machute, B'chayechon, Yomechon, B'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagalah, Man, Kariv, Yimru, Amen. Yehesh Me'aba, Mevorach, Le'olam, Almaya. Yiparach, Yishtabach, Yipar, Yishromal, Yinaseh, Yitadar, Yitaleh, Yitaleh, Le'elam, Yichol Birchata B'shirata, Shush B'chata B'nechemata, Da'amiran Be'alma, V'imru, Amen. Yehesh Lama Rabba, B'chayim, Aleinu, V'yachol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom Romav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'yachol Yisrael, V'imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom Romav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'yachol Yisrael, V'yachol Yoshvei Tevel, V'imru, Amen. We conclude our service with those words. May we experience the peace that the one who grants peace in the heights grants peace to all of us, to all of Israel, and to the entire world. Amen. I invite Will to lead us as we dance our way out of Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Oseh Shalom Bimroma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'imru, Imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimroma, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'imru, Amen. Hey, la 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 la, la 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 la. Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'imru, Amen. One more dance. Hey, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Good Shabbos, everybody. I hope you liked my little Jumbotron action, putting everybody spotlighting.
Josh, very cool, Rabbi.
Awesome.
Good to see you getting your Shabbos on.
Yeah.
I thought I was
Great.
a visual DJ is what it felt
Yeah,
like.
it's awesome.
Good job.
Next time.
You-
Visual, spiritual DJ.
Kiss cam. What is-
Yes. Well, good Shabbos, everyone.
Thanks to Alex.
Hi, everybody.
Good to see you, everybody. Bye, Bev.
Bye.
Shabbos.
Bye.
Good Shabbos.
Bye.
Take care.
Long and prosper, yes.
Thank you, Will. Thank you, Amy. It was awesome to be all together.
Stay well, everyone. Stay well.
Kathy.
Hey.
Yes.
Stay well.
Take care, everyone.
Hi, Effie.
Stay safe.
Love
You
you.
too.
Love
Keep
you,
doing
bye.
all that good work you're doing, Kathy.
Love you.
Love you too.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
I can
Hi, Clinton.
So,
see you next week.
see you next week.
Okay.
I'll give you a few more texts and we'll plan it out.
Sounds
Of course.
awesome. We look forward to it.
Only,
We
you
do
know,
too.
Yes.
two or three a day.
It's good to see your cup is full.
Your cups are full.
Your cups are full.
The cups are full.
No, those are Tesla's. Those are Tesla's cups.
Tesla's cups are full.
Running over.
Yes.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.